Hello, hello, hello. It is me. Hello and welcome to the stream for Applied Digital Studies, DGST 395, a class at the University of Mary Washington. This is Section 1's live stream for Wednesday, September 9th. So I was thinking maybe I should put the, hang on a second. Well, okay, too late. I was thinking I should put the date on these so that I can tell which is which later on. But as you can see, I look a little different. I've done a few things to rearrange my layout here on the stream, and I am doing that. I want to show you a couple of things here in Discord. One of the things that you'll hopefully notice is right below me, and this is the chat. So the live stream chat visible channel is now going to appear on the stream, and I'm doing that so that it's a little bit easier to follow along. So for now, so if you're watching this after the fact in the archive, you can see that Brian just said good afternoon. So good afternoon, Brian. Oh, the background music is still on? Oh, thanks. Okay. Let me kill that. Is it still on? I mean, okay, hang on. It shouldn't be. I mean, I believe you if you're telling me it is, Alex, but I don't hear it. Okay, well, it shouldn't be playing at all. Is it gone now? Okay, hopefully, got it. Okay, great. Looks like most people can't hear it. So I don't know if Alex, if you're saying yes, it's gone, or yes, I can still hear it. But in any case, it looks like most people can't hear anything right now other than me talking, which is all you need to hear right now. So, and hopefully, Sally, that you can hear me. And it's not that you can hear nothing, but you can only hear me. Okay, so I'm going to show you, I have Discord up here because I wanted to show you something too about it. So it's not just that there's the chat there, which is now going to be part of the stream. Again, that will make it easier for people to follow along if they're watching after the fact. I also just wanted to show you something really quick in Discord. I'm not going to switch into any of the channels where you're chatting right now. I'm also not going to display the members list right now. I just wanted to show you a couple things about using Discord that I think might be helpful because many of you were posting your code. Yeah, maybe. So some of you were posting your code and just taking a picture of it or a screenshot of it. Obviously that works. I mean, it did work. And whether or not that's obvious, it did work. I can confirm. But there is actually a better way to share code in Discord. I want to show you that, and just for future reference, do it. Maybe do it this way if you ever if you need to share code again. You don't have to go back and reshare anything. I appreciate those of you who already did. Whatever way. So you remember, so in Python, in the Colab notebooks, you hopefully have got a little bit of experience now working with the Markdown syntax. And as I'm typing right now, hopefully you can see this. I don't know how big it's going to be, but hopefully it's big enough. That way, way down there, you can see me typing. Oops, not that one. Sorry, too many windows. Okay, so so that means as you're typing, you can just type the characters. There's no menu to select different styles, but if you know them, one asterisk is going to be, you can type in italics. I think one asterisk is italics. Yeah, it kind of previews what it's going to look like. If you want to write code, you can also write code with a backtick character. That's the top left of your keyboard. It looks like this. And I'm just using this archive channel for now as a practice space because there's nothing else in it. I created this channel for a reason that I will share shortly, but that's if you're going to do inline typing. It looks like Emma might be trying it out. These are inline styles. In your example, I asked you to write a function and then share that. And as you've figured out, hopefully by now, Python is very picky about spaces and indentation. And if you're writing things inline, it's not necessarily going to preserve all that. If you just copy and paste it, it might not look right let's say if you pasted it in Microsoft Word as a paragraph of text, that's going to get formatted differently than it would be formatted in a code editor. So if you want to make sure to preserve those spaces and the things lining up vertically, there's a way to type that here. Yeah, I mean, you can do it. I don't know if you can do it in Twitch, probably not. Anyway, the way to do a whole block of code is with 3 backticks like this. So 1, 2, 3, and then I like to hit Shift Enter. So it gives me a new line down here, and then I can type some code. So now I can write a function I'm just going to type this off the top of my head. Python function. I don't know what I'm doing here. Doesn't matter. And then at the end of that block, type 3 backticks again. And then that's going to print it as a block of code like that. And it looks nicely formatted and keeps track of that indentation. So just a tip, FYI, next time you need to share some code in Discord, this is a good way to do it. Yeah, and feel free to practice it in this archive channel right now. I've created the archive channel so that if this works, I have to wait and see if this will work because it's an event that responds to a trigger. If this works, then whenever I post the archived version of this video that I'm streaming right now, it should post a link to it in this channel. So that way, if you are kind of participating in this class more asynchronously, you will see this notification that, hey, there's a new video for me to watch, and you can watch it that way. I don't know how useful that will be, honestly. I feel like you could also subscribe to me on YouTube and get notifications that way, which might be easier for your workflow. I don't know. I just wanted to make as many options available as possible, and also I'm still sort of playing with and trying to figure out all the neat things you can do in Discord. So that's one of those. It's a little bot called Zapier that's going to do stuff like that every now and then, and I'm still sort of playing with it. It's a little bit of a distraction for me, so I probably shouldn't spend too much time on it. I should probably make sure that I'm doing other things too. But that's what you'll see in this archive channel, or just feel free to practice wherever. The live stream chat visible channel is, as you see, is going to keep showing up there, and that should work. And actually, Emma, I don't know if what you wrote there, did you write, let's see. I'm actually not sure if the little widget that pops up below me will actually preserve styles across like that. Maybe try it. So it looks like you used apostrophes instead of backticks, Emma. So the backtick is like upper left. Yeah, and it could be like the backtick will probably not be in the main keyboard. You might have to switch to the like alternative keyboard depending on how your keyboard's set up. Like on mine, I usually have to pull up the secondary screen to get to characters like that. But on a normal like a computer keyboard, it's the top left. Let me just try it. I'm going to try. Squirrel right there. some formatted text. I'm just going to see if that'll come through. Oh yeah, it did. Okay, it looks like it came through below. Let me just try this. Let's try italics. Did that work? It did. Okay, neat. Great. There we go. So this is obviously a little experiment. I like having this here. I do wish I could make it taller. This is a widget provided by Discord, and it's all they offered. It doesn't let you customize the dimensions of the box. You can scale it up and down in OBS, but you can't change the aspect ratio of it. So I don't know. I'm gonna see if there's another way to do that, or if there's a way I can hack the CSS maybe. So there you go. Looks like it worked. And Sally B, you made it bold. So good job. Okay, great. So this is Discord, and something else you've hopefully noticed in Discord, I sent an announcement about this. In fact, I sent two because I initially sent you all the wrong announcement. I sent the announcement intended for the graphic novel class, but I sent you all the correct one eventually to tell you that I have put you all into, it's actually groups, but Discord calls them roles, so that you have a role within Discord that is kind of like your group. So if I want to address, and actually I can see because you all are in different colors right now, I have different roles watching right now. It doesn't really matter, but this is mainly with respect to like the face-to-face, the logistical cohorts. So when you're coming face-to-face or online. So the idea is, like, if I wanted to address everyone that would normally be attending class face-to-face right now, that would be, I can type @ and then I can type Wednesdays section 1, right? So that would address all of you, that you would all get that notification. And depending on your setup, you might have it come to you as a push notification, or just you'll see it pop up with like that red number. So that's a way that I can get all of your attention if I need to get the attention of a particular group, or if you do, if like you need to say, hey everyone that's going to be meeting right now, let's all I don't know, color coordinate our shirt or something. I don't know. I don't know what you want to do, why you would want to have that ability, but you do have that ability. So feel free to use it. Likewise, feel free to use your ability now that I've granted for you to create your own emoji. If there's something that you feel like deserves to be an emoji, a reaction, then go ahead. You've got that power now. So check that out. Okay, so let's see. I do mainly have like logistical kind of housekeeping things to talk about today, but just as a general open-ended question, I am interested to hear your thoughts, concerns, questions, anxieties, whatever, about face-to-face, about going back face-to-face next week. I know many of you are not actually going face-to-face at all, but many of you are, most of you are. So I'm just, I'm interested to hear what your take is on it. I've been kind of watching things on the meme page, and seems like many people are a recurring theme or question is how long are we going to be face to face before we have to turn around and send everyone home again? I think that is the big question. However, I think there is reason to be optimistic that we will be able to make it through all 10 weeks of our planned face-to-face time. So yeah, if you have any questions, just put them in the live stream chat, or just, and by the way, the live stream chat is going to be visible, but if you do want to communicate with me in a way that's invisible, then you can do that through other channels, or whatever, or I have various things open. So if you can communicate, you can send a message to me through some other channel, even like a DM, and I will, you won't see that. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and close this tab out, and so that Discord isn't visible at all on the screen other than the channel down here. So what are your, do you have questions or concerns, thoughts? I personally am optimistic about UMW. I've seen campus and I know how thoroughly prepared it looks, how much the physical space has done this, how much it's been structured in order to make these things possible. So yeah, okay, so Ryan is expressing some, well, very, very angry. So I think these are things that are reasonable to be concerned about. That said, okay, well, you can say that hatred too if you want. You can see it on the screen there. So we have certainly seen cases where some schools have had to go back to remote, have had to shut down, right? But lots of schools haven't. Lots of schools have found that they've been able to manage it, like in terms of either keeping infections off campus entirely or keeping them at a level that's acceptable, right? So acceptable is a tricky word, though. So it's like, if we view it as inevitable that some people are getting sick, you might say that is itself irresponsible. But like I said, it's kind of where we are. So looks like some people are typing. Yeah, so Ginger Snaps, I'm annoyed that people think we will be fine because we are not a party school, like we are no JMU, but parties still happen. That's true, yeah. People do act stupid. I can say that I've been on campus a little bit, and I have definitely seen students not wearing masks already. With only, there only being like 50 students on campus, there were several that were not following the rules. But one can hope that will improve as people get back on campus and norms like universal mask wearing become, the de facto norm that everybody's doing. That's my hope anyway. Sally B, looks like you're typing. I can say I'm definitely looking forward to being back. Now, that's, whether it's too soon or not, maybe a different question, but I definitely miss the face-to-face experience. Although I have fun playing with Discord and Twitch, but I also, it's nice talking to people in person. The token thing for rooms is confusing. I don't know. I'm not sure which thing you're referring to with token things. I don't know if that has to do with the housing. I'm not really sure what. policies or communication has happened already around housing? Because I don't get it. I mean, I'm not part of that channel of communication. But I can say we can, and we can't necessarily enforce the physical space. We can't. I mean, we can. Whether or not we will is a question. But I mean, we can definitely trespass people from campus. Like we can say if someone's on campus that doesn't need to be there, we can require them to leave. But right, I mean that's going to be tricky. We do have though control over, and we can tell people not to come into academic buildings. In fact, you are not allowed in an academic building without a mask. So no one is allowed in an academic building without a mask. So if you forget your mask one day, then just turn around. I guess it's really, yeah. I mean that's really the policy. I don't know. We kind of all have to be part of a community in the sense that we all have to contribute to, enforcing that standard and enforcing that norm. Like there's not going to be mask police everywhere, but we all kind of have to keep an eye out for each other. I mean, keep an eye out for that which means we're keeping an eye out for each other in the sense that if people are not wearing masks, that puts us all at risk. So, well, we do have good attitudes, don't we, Gracie? Well, let's take a look at the decision because actually there is a thought process behind this, and you can see the reasoning laid out here. So let me pull this up here. In fact, I was kind of thinking, this does sort of relate to what I had asked you all to do for homework for today, which was to create a decision based on, or to create a function that expresses a decision and, or like walks through the different aspects of a decision process. And we actually have something very similar to that. Did I pull it up here? We have so something very similar to that here on the UMW COVID page. So the explanation of kind of which conditions and which situations would lead us to close again. And so you could express this actually as a Python function. And that's kind of what I don't know if it's worthwhile to walk through it that way, but we could think of it that way, or I could at least talk about it. So these are kind of, all of these things need to be true for us to consider. So we could say positive trends, healthcare capacity, right? Climate of adherence, and campus plan is developed. Now that campus preparedness plan has been developed, approved, and is consistent. Like that one's sort of already true, but these are things that need to continue to be true, basically, for us to be able to remain face-to-face. So S. Price puts out a good point. It is really tricky to, I don't know if Ginger Snaps, if you're replying to S. Price through your DJ, but and I'm trying to, I know who you all are, by the way, I'm trying to use your screen names. So there are certain classes that are the reality is that certain classes are much harder to go online, or they have to prepare in different ways. Like the sciences are the ones that have had the biggest challenges, I know. But yeah, I think, the trick is, and I decided to go hybrid, which makes it complicated, and I'm dealing with that complication right now, right, by trying to manage it for you all. But the idea that some people have just gone completely online already, I think is probably, like, I can see why they did that, and I kind of wish I had done that, actually. It is certainly possible, yeah. It takes a different kind of preparation, but it's definitely possible. I don't know, I was watching, I assume you all look at the memes page, but it seemed like there was a pretty energetic thread around a geology class and something about the rocks. I don't know. I don't really know what the deal is, but I guess you need to have rocks to do geology, so there was some confusion about why certain rocks needed to be bought in person, and which ones could be mailed or something. I don't know. Certainly access to equipment is another one. But this is definitely a class where there is no special equipment, right? There's nothing that except in maybe cases where there's software, but that's a pretty rare situation for this class. Software or equipment, right? In most cases, you already have the things you would need in order to complete the work for this class and even your big project. That said, sometimes in this class, in the history of this class, 395, students have wanted to use things like the Green Screen Studio and the Convergence Center. So that's probably something that you don't have an equivalent of at home. However, there are ways to do green screen if you really want to do green screen, like I'm doing right now on the cheap. Like this is very cheap. Like I set this up for under $10. So it's something that can be done with different options. Yeah. All right. Well, so this is actually the next part of today's plan. I wanted to talk about are the different ways of engaging with this class to make sure that everyone is fully engaging in the ways that are appropriate to them and their section, their modality. And part of what the complication is that I've discovered, and you discovered, is that there are effectively 8 different classes, like 8 different communities among this class. And when I say community, I mean sections or cohorts or modalities, right? So there's 3 different ways of categorizing yourself. And I think that is already and is going to continue to be a challenge as we try to find ways to connect. And connecting is really important for a class where you're really trying to challenge yourself and learn new things and then ultimately develop a large-scale project. So finding your group, finding your community, your team within this, I think is going to be tricky. And so that's where Discord can be really useful, I hope anyway. But let me show you what I started doing. I didn't complete this, so don't even look at this, but I started trying to map out like a Twine game where like you could be like, here's the, like, who you are. And so the idea is like, what is today? And then what am I supposed to do today? But as you can see, I didn't even get a quarter of the way done, and it got very complicated the way I was mapping this out. It didn't quite work. So let me just kind of break it down and summarize it. And then hopefully, hopefully by now your modality and your cohort. This won't be too hard to keep track of, but let's just keep it in mind, I guess. So let's see, not there. Okay, so going forward from now on, every Monday is a live stream, no face-to-face attendance at all. So a live stream means watch on Twitch like we're doing right now. Occasionally I might do something different. Check Discord or Canvas if you have any questions. But that's, if I do something different, I will let you know ahead of time. But you should take for granted that I'm going to be online streaming on Twitch at 1:40 p.m. and 2:50 p.m. Every Monday. So do that. My computer over here is updating. So take that for granted. That's the kind of basic understanding. So on the participation page now in Canvas, I've explained a little bit about a different way of thinking about this. So every day, you should be checking your email, checking Canvas announcements, checking Discord at least once, right? Not all day, not all over and over again all day, but checking for things like changes to the plan. Like if I'm not going to stream or if I'm going to do something different, I will tell you through these channels. Any last minute changes, things like that. Make sure you're aware of those things, and that's just kind of a basic being in the right place kind of thing. So then on every day, regardless of your section or your cohorts, you should be, on every day we meet class, so Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, you should be logged into Discord. So some of you I know are doing things a bit more asynchronously, but for everyone else, you should be in Discord at 1:40 and 2:50 whenever I'm streaming or whenever we're face-to-face or whenever you're online, by yourselves. That's going to be, the Discord is, think of that like your classroom that you attend. Even for those of you that are participating asynchronously, I still would like for you to be logged into Discord while you're working on things for this class, whether it's working through the node or working through other things. It's just a place for you to throw a quick question if you have one, or see other people throwing their quick questions out so you can try to answer, and that becomes a place for you to have a conversation in the community. So Discord is essentially, I'm trying to accomplish as much as possible with Discord that we would normally accomplish just simply by being in the same room together. So that's something that I would really like for you to embrace and take for granted and try to be consistent with, even if you're asynchronous, even if you're doing things asynchronously. So now for those of you who are a bit more asynchronous, I do have something that I'm going to start trying to do better at. I feel like there's a lot of you in this class that I have not seen much online, and you're probably not watching right now if that's the case, but you may be watching it later. And so I want to make sure to give opportunities for asynchronous participation as much as possible. So there's a couple of things now already in the discussion section. I've put this link up higher in the course navigation for Canvas. So these are 2 discussion threads, and I'm going to keep adding some more of these, but The idea is if you missed the live conversation, either watching the Twitch stream or if there was a synchronous chat planned, I've posted some of the same questions that I led that discussion with as threads in Canvas. And so what I'd like for you to do is add your thoughts here. So as we can see, Winzy's doing that. So that's a way for you to show me that you're keeping up with things, and a way for me to see your ideas and your thinking, because I would like to understand your ideas and see what you're thinking. And I know you all are diverse, interesting people with lots of ideas, so I want to see those ideas. And that's the big thing with an online class. Like I can put stuff out here all day, but knowing what's connecting and what's not, that's harder online. Face to face, I can kind of see if things aren't making sense, and we can work together to make it make sense. But when I just throw things out there, I don't know. So I really want to see you all, if you're not able to participate live, using the discussion threads to share your thoughts. So we've got this one here. This is mainly about merger, and then a little bit about million dollar microseconds. Kind of hard to say. And excuse me. And then the Hang the DJ, so the Netflix Black Mirror episode. If you watched that but you weren't able to participate live in our chat about it, then here's a place for you to add some thoughts. You don't have to do both. Like, you don't have to do the live chat and then come back here and add thoughts. But if you were not able to do one, then do the other, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to keep adding. I'm going to try to add those. I might go back and add another retroactive one, but I think just mainly going forward, I'm going to try to do a discussion thread option for each day whenever there's a discussion planned for the live chat. So there's like a live chat conversation, and then there's an offline kind of asynchronous version of that. Really the same questions, but different, right? I mean, like in these, I can ask, like in the Canvas thread, I can pose more complicated questions, I think, whereas in the Discord version of a similar conversation, I can pose a question and then a follow-up question, and then we can explore different tangents as they develop. But I definitely want to see you doing at least one of those, kind of, so I can know that things are connecting. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know. The other thing I wanted to talk about is we're doing on time, good, okay. The other thing I want to talk about is the node. So your first node is due today. Hopefully that's going well, and that'll be, of course, another way that I see kind of what's connecting and where some things might not be connecting yet. Looking back on it, I do think it is kind of challenging. So I recognize that, and I just want you to do your best, right? So looking at especially the code part, it's tricky, and many of you I think did an admirable job of putting together relatively functional pseudocode in the things that you shared. And I wanted to talk about a couple of them and kind of talk through what I see you doing there. And my intention then, once you've submitted them, and I've seen about a lot of you have already submitted yours, what I will be doing is actually going through your notebook, and I might record videos giving you feedback. I might just do comments. So this is like a Google Doc, so I can, for example, like let's say you wrote something here, I can actually leave a comment on it right here, and so I can give you feedback on that particular piece of it. That might be more efficient actually than videos. Excuse me. But sometimes videos, if it's something that I need to explain, sometimes a video works better. That's the idea. So I will actually work on the document the notebook that you've shared with me. Speaking of sharing it, I had a couple of questions about how to submit it. Let me just make sure, I think I've showed you this already, but I don't mind showing you again, which is how to submit it. So let's see, let me switch to student mode. Student view. So the main thing is you want to, it will appear as though you have 2 options or 3 options. But I don't want you to do 3 options. One of them I don't want you to do because it causes problems for me. So when you submit the assignment, submit by website URL. Please use this option. Do not use this Google Drive option. It presents itself as available. I mean, it doesn't to me because it says I'm masquerading. But for the website URL one, that definitely works. Please do that one. With the Google Drive one, it sends me a blank iframe, and I can actually debug it. Like I can go into the source code of it and find your notebook's token and then access it that way, but it's like a lot of steps. And so really, you know, it would be a lot easier for me if you just paste it there and then that's it, that'll be done. Even if you're not totally done with it, go ahead and submit it today so that I can find the link to it. The other thing that I need is make sure that I have access to it. So go to the share settings and double check that you've got it set so anyone with a link can comment. So where it says get link, right? So right now this one is not ready yet. So go here. Oh no, I did. It said anyone with a link can comment, right? And then if it doesn't say that, then change the settings so that anyone with a link can comment. Really what I'd recommend if you plan ahead, there will be several notebooks like this, so you can make a folder in your Google Drive and set the default permissions for that folder to be anyone with a link can comment. And then when you make a copy of my notebooks, just put it in that copyable folder for you, and then it'll automatically inherit those permissions, and then that just skips that step. If you forget to, it's not a big deal because I can click the button and request access. But if you just save me that step, that would be great because there are over 50 of you, and the fewer things like that I have to keep track of, the better. So please do that. Okay, so any questions about turning things in or whatever? Then this would be a time to ask them. Oh man, I do see a question. Somebody's typing. Oh, okay, great. Let me know your question, Gracie. Oh. Will I drink my coffee? That is a good question. I don't think I explained how to do that. So let me show you how to do that. Now, a couple of different, as usual, there's a couple of different ways. And it looks like Sally may have a question too, but let me see, what did I do here? There are a couple of ways you can do it. Oh yeah, okay, great. So here's what I did. So I don't know if you can see this, but I actually just wrote an image tag. This is an HTML tag to insert an image. And this let me have more control over it, I guess, but you don't have to do it this way. But the thing you do have to do is you have to upload this image somewhere in order to be able to include it like this. Yeah, and I really recommend doing it that way as opposed to what happens if you click the image button in here, because it will try to insert your image as base 64 data, which is going to be this huge wall of random looking numbers and letters. And to me, when I did it, it basically like overloaded the notebook and it froze and I had to restart my browser. So I don't recommend doing that. But what you do need to do is upload an image somewhere and then include the URL to it. And I can go through that whole process here for you if you'd like me to do that. Let me see if that's going to be, looks like other people are typing too, maybe they have similar questions. So let me show you this and then we'll see from there. Now, so I've put this, if you can see the URL for this image, this is on dgsd101.net, which is a domain, obviously, that I own. And you have a website as well and a domain associated with that. So it is not unreasonable to do what I've done here, which is I've made, let me show you this, I'll just open it in a new tab. I have made a subdomain on my main domain, which is, this is just dgsd101.net. I have multiple domains, but on this one, I've set up this subdomain just to be a place for me to dump files. And I just have a couple here. What is this? Oh yeah, so that's that one. What is this one? Oh yeah, it was a picture of letterpress, but it's it has the letters OO and HH prominently. So this is just a place for me to put files. If you, and that's kind of a nice thing to do, but if you don't want to do it that way, all you have to have is a publicly visible URL for your image. So for example, if you need a quick one, Imgur.com is a way to do that. And I've done this plenty of times. So you can go to new post. They do really want you to sign in now to make an account. Oh, I don't know my account. Is it going to let me do this without signing in? Ugh. Okay, maybe I'll just sign in with Google. I don't like signing in with Google, but I will try this time. And then just so I can show you what it looks like. No, I did just sign in, didn't I? No, go away. Come on. I don't want to whitelist Imgur. My ad blocker is fighting Imgur right now, so let's see if I can get them to work. Okay, great. So you go to new post, upload your image, or well, yeah, upload it. There's a couple. There's kind of an extra step here, so I am going to show you this whole process if I can. Okay, so this is something from my creative coding class, but this is what it looks like when you upload this. And you can post this, Imgur lets you post this to the community, which means public, or you can post it as a hidden thing, and hidden is fine. So I'm just going to post this hidden, and you can see it gives you a link. However, this is not the right link. This is not the one you need. You want to take a look at this by itself in a window, and if you look at the URL, right, it says imgur.com/a/ a bunch of letters. That's not actually the image URL. This is the album URL, which could be this image and others. So this down here is the link to this image. If I copy that link, paste it in Imgur, I'm close, but I'm still not quite there. Because if you notice, this is actually still a web page. But if I just add .jpg on the end of that, now finally I'm looking at just an image by itself. So it is several steps, but it's free, and you don't have, if you just need a quick temporary place to host an image, Imgur works great for that, for this purpose. So the only drawback is all those steps that you have to remember, but once you've done it a few times, it's not too bad. And then once you have that, you can copy this URL, and in here you can insert it. Now this is, I've written this as an image tag, like an HTML image tag. If you don't know how to do these, here's how to do it, or you can, W3 Schools can explain it. There's also a, what is this? What is this image? Hang on. What is this image? This is, oh yeah, Audacity. So what you do is, I hope I have this right, in Markdown, you write the alt text first in square brackets, and then in parentheses you write the URL of the image you want to include. Yeah, there it is. So it's an exclamation point and then alt text as a phrase there between square brackets, and then the URL in regular parentheses. Again, a lot of things to remember. So your mileage may vary, but you've also got you've got a copy of my code in yours in your notebook. So if you double click that cell and edit it, you'll see my code here. You could just change this URL for your URL. So you could do like that, and then it's going to show up there. So Gracie, hopefully that made sense. I know it's a little quick, but yeah, so let me know. How do I have to change it to a URL if I already uploaded it as an image and it worked? You mean you inserted it like using the button, Maggie? If that's what you mean, then if it works, it works. You don't have to do anything differently if it works. That's always the case, right? So if something works, then it works. So KGP Gracie, what is it actually an image? Like that would be another thing to check. Like Imgur needs it to be a PNG or JPEG or GIF. It probably cannot handle SVG, which is a different image format, but a common image format for flowcharts. So if you have an SVG, you might have to convert it to a PNG first. So lots of steps. And yeah, Maggie, if it works, it works. So don't worry. And this is, by the way, this kind of troubleshooting is the kind of thing we can do face-to-face a little bit more efficiently. At least I can, direct you all, or I can see what you're doing a little bit easier. That's one advantage of it, I think. One of several advantages of face-to-face when we can do that. But of course, this works as well, just a little bit slower. Okay, so great. Well, and honestly, do your best. If it doesn't end up working at all, then this is not the end of the world. This is not the most important part of this notebook by any means. So, a loud bump. So don't worry too much about it. The flowchart, really the point is to do it, like to create the flowchart for yourself. Like that's hopefully going to be helpful for you. In fact, I don't want that to look that way. Can I undo? How do I undo things? Control MZ. Okay, maybe I lost that one. I can put it back. So let me put that back before I forget. Don't go there. lunch, right? Then I have one more thing I wanted to talk about. I see we got about 10 minutes left. 8 minutes left. Okay, that's back to where I wanted it. Good. Okay, so the last bit I wanted to talk about is somebody's yelling. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to check on is some of your functions. Some of you wrote some similar things to what I did, or different things, and that's fine. But I wanted to talk about a couple that I pulled out. And in fact, I don't remember whose these were, so I don't mean to pick on anybody's. I just wanted to kind of show you some things. I literally just clicked on a few of these. So I wanted to make sure you understand what you're doing here, and maybe you do already, and that's fine. I just wanted to kind of talk through what happens in this code when you write it this way. Again, this is Python. Most of you are writing just pretty coherent Python here, so this is great. Let me make sure. And I can also look at, if anyone would like for me to look at yours specifically. Right now, that would be fine too. Just share it in the link to it, or put it in the live stream chat channel in Discord. But this is kind of the final, kind of the end point of this notebook. So this is a good thing to focus on, I hope, in terms of giving kind of general feedback like this. But I will try to give everyone individualized feedback as well. So again, I don't remember whose this was. This might not be anyone in this class, this section rather. But these two I thought were both pretty good in terms of demonstrating what's actually happening. And so hopefully you can kind of see this. This is, someone took a picture of the screen. This is fine. So we have here, this is mostly my code so far, right? So the now equals date time. I wish there was a faster way to do this in Python. I couldn't find any quicker way to do it. So these 3 lines, just use my 3 lines. That's fine. Other languages I think have quicker ways to do that, but I don't know why Python. Sometimes Python can be very elegant and short, and sometimes it's a little bit verbose. But this is okay. All right. So this is someone who's created an inventory. So there are 3 items: Netflix, walk, and cook. And then the choose is the name of this function now. And so if the current hour is 16, which I don't know if this was clear, but 16 is going to be UTC time, or Greenwich Mean Time. And so this corresponds to noon in Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on the East Coast or in Fredericksburg, this is going to be essentially lunchtime. So this is going to be, for this particular function, this is going to be if the current hour is noon, then we're going to check to see if Netflix is in the inventory. And if so, we're going to watch some Netflix. If Netflix is not in the inventory, then we're going to take a walk, because the next option is going to check for a walk. And if walk is not there, then we are going to clean your room. It is messy. Or if it's not this current time, then we're going to take a nap. So sometimes when we think about code, it's useful to talk about kind of intentional code. Like, is this what we meant for it to do? Or, because this code works, but the question is this what we really wanted it to do? So let's talk about what actually is going to happen here. First of all, this is going to be, if it's any time other than noon, like if it's, or the 12 o'clock hour, because it's just checking for the hour, then we're going to be napping, which might be okay. That seems like a nice day sometimes. But that's what this code actually says. So if that's not what you intended, then you could change the current hour check. If you also read this, because Netflix is in the inventory, so this is the list inventory and it has 3 elements in it. Netflix is there, so this particular version is going to either, if it is the 12 o'clock hour, then it's going to definitely say watch some Netflix. So we're either napping. The only 2 options, basically, the way this is written so far, is that we're either napping or watching Netflix, which it doesn't sound like a terrible life, but that's that's what this is doing. It is not possible, as far as I can tell, to use some of these variables like cooking, right? And this is fine. Like, whoever did this is good. I'm talking through kind of what the code here actually means. So the other one, this one was pretty different. So this one, nice looking screenshot. So this one is a function called hungry. It does look like it will run. Like, it does look like it's going to compile and run syntactically, but I don't think it's going to do it. Well, let me talk about what it's going to do. So this creates this variable called inventory. And this variable called inventory is a list that has 3 items: bread, ramen, and apple, which I think was what I started with. And then for the hungry, again, it checks for, is it noon? Is it the 12 o'clock hour? And if so, then it proceeds to the next evaluation. The next evaluation or condition asks, is eat your lunch in inventory? And it is not currently. It could be, like you would have to add it to the inventory list, but it's not. So that's something that is never going to happen in this particular version of the code without some changes. Now I wrote this as a template, and you wrote this as a template. Like, this is meant to be something that will change and iterate. Obviously, this is really just to make you aware of the different processes that you're working through. But this is actually going to always print the results. You look like you haven't slept in days. So that's, I mean, at least in its current form, which, I guess it's kind of the inverse of this one, which has you're mostly sleeping. So that's kind of the opposite of that. So these are ways in which code can be. There's two different ways of thinking about code and correctness or accuracy. There's like, does it compile? Like, does it actually, like, are all the commas and colons in the right place on the one hand, and then on the other hand, there's, does it do what I want it to do? And that second part is where things get interesting. The syntax stuff is can definitely trip you up, but it's usually pretty easy to solve those kinds of problems. The real problem is getting the code to do what you want it to do, and that can be quite let's see, where was it, in general or memes? Yeah, as Brian shared in the general channel, the idea that it works, and that's the exhilaration of it working followed by the despair of it not working. Like, those are that up and down is really, that's what it's about. So oh, there's a Baby Yoda reaction now. Did somebody put that in there? That's great. Is that a custom emoji, or maybe that's a shared emoji? Because I think I've set it up so you can use emoji from other servers as well as add your own. I'm not totally sure how I did that. Yeah, so anyway, the way I was talking about that wasn't to point out any problems or to tell whoever did those examples that they did that wrong. Okay, thanks, Rachel. But just to show you that what's going on is a series of steps. It's a series of decisions that are being made, and because of the way you set it up, it's either, some things may never happen. This is really what we would really be doing in any kind of scenario like this. Is we wouldn't define the inventory ahead of time. We would be checking the inventory. We would actually go to the pantry and see what's in there, or we would ask for input from the user in some way. That would actually make this function. Like, the way it is, it's a canned example, so it's not actually testing something or coming up with a decision that we don't already know the answer to. So it's a very contrived example, and it doesn't really work the way I gave it to you. So this is good. What you did is good. All right, so let's see. So the next steps for this class, since we're about out of time, let me remind you about a couple things. There's no class or no stream, nothing Friday. So Friday is nothing. Just enjoy whatever you do on Fridays. That is, so some of you are moving back in. I think some of you are already moved back in. Some of you are moving back in on Thursday or Friday, so that's great. So hopefully that goes well. Monday we will not meet. No one will meet face to face Monday. Monday will be fully online. I will be using that stream on Monday to introduce you to the next node. So you might want to use some time Friday, if you have it, to finish node 1 if you're still working on node 1. But Monday will be the introduction to node 2. Node 2 will actually be kind of similar. I'm going to focus it on artificial intelligence, and it'll let me look at some similar topics and things to continue what we've already started talking about with algorithms. So that'll be that day. And then Wednesday and Friday of next week will be face-to-face cohorts. So if you're in the Wednesday face-to-face, either of the Wednesday face-to-face cohorts, we will meet in person in HCC 327. Don't forget your mask. As you arrive, you'll clean your area and then clean it again when you leave. There's a whole protocol, and there are posters everywhere reminding you of what to do, and lots of tape on the floor showing you where to go. It's all very different. You'll see when you get back, but it'll be fine, I think. Yeah, if you have questions or concerns about things, let me know. Also, by the way, I think I mentioned this, but if not, I'll say it again now, which is, if you change your mind about face-to-face, or if you change your mind about which cohort you need to be in Wednesday or Friday, then that's still adjustable. So let me know so I can make that change. Let me know as soon as you feel like you want to switch. But you know, it is still possible. I just saw a question come up. Are we online only meeting on a specific day, or are we going asynchronous? So that is a complicated question, Brian. So the question is, if you are online only, some of you that are online only are, I know, able to attend or attend synchronously. If that is possible, that's great. I don't take that for granted though. So if you need to be asynchronous, I know some people have work schedules, then that's an option too. So I am not really differentiating the communication between those two versions of the online only, at least not at this point. I kind of want to see how that goes, because if I do differentiate that, then my communication becomes much more complicated. So I'm kind of like hoping you can be synchronous. So if you think about it, like everybody is online Monday, synchronous, maybe asynchronous, but mostly synchronous. On Wednesdays, some people are face-to-face, some people are online synchronous, and some people are online asynchronous, right? It gets tricky. And yeah, I'm not going to be able to stream and teach in person at the same time. I've decided that would be counterproductive, because if I'm streaming, right, like if I'm just standing there lecturing, you might as well watch me on a computer. You don't need to be in the same room as me for that to work, It's only useful, like the only point of being together is that you can talk to each other and talk to me. Like that's enabled by that. Me talking to you works just as well, maybe not just as well, but pretty well, I think, on the computer. But then Friday is the same, but it's an inverse thing. I might try to finish that Twine game that breaks down the different scenarios and different versions of this class that exist simultaneously, which is the real challenge of hybridity, I think. Now, this, like I keep saying, this is complicated. It is not entirely, we don't know. This is still plan A, right? We may need to go to a plan B, or I may need to go to a plan B and change things around. Yes, so Alex's question, will there be instructions in the know for people who are online during class while people are face-to-face? Yes, that's my intention. I also intend to communicate that via Canvas message or Discord announcement saying, okay, if you're face-to-face, here's what we're doing. If you're online only, here's what you're doing. And that'll be differentiated. So that's the primary way in which my work is essentially doubled as far as class preparation, but it's not that bad. Because it's the same concepts, it's just going to be a different set of instructions for how to work through it. Okay, so it's a lot. All right, well, thanks for chatting. I do want to wrap it up because it's been about 50 minutes, maybe a little bit long, so I want to wrap this up so I can reset for a similar conversation. Thanks for all of the conversation here. And yeah, I mean, as always, we'll roll with the changes. We'll do whatever we need to. So let me know if you have questions, concerns, anything I can help you with at all, please let me know. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you have a good afternoon and I guess a good weekend, because I will not be online like this with you all until Monday. So yeah, take care. Bye.